The neon lights of New Arcadia City glowed like sharp knives in the dark. Cutting through the smoke that floated above the streets, people rushed from one place to another. Airbikes roared overhead, robots argued with vendors, and strange shadows watched from hidden corners in the middle of this loud and living city. A small apartment window suddenly burst open as a young girl stepped out, her voice shaking with anger and pain. "You're not my father." Lena screamed, her eyes burning bright with tears and fire. Captain Rowe, the man who raised her for 16 years, stood frozen inside the apartment doorway, unable to move or speak. He looked strong on the outside, a tall man with scars, a soldier's posture, and calm eyes, but in that moment he felt weak. His heart felt heavier than any weapon he had ever carried. Lena didn't wait for his answer. She ran down the metal stairs and disappeared into the glowing city streets. Rowe reached out with one hand, but she was already gone, swallowed by the lights and noise of New Arcadia. He whispered her name, but the city did not care. It kept moving, kept breathing, kept hiding its secrets. Lena ran without looking back. She didn't want to see Rowe's face again. Because she didn't want to feel guilty, her chest hurt, not from running, but from the truth she had learned that morning. The truth that broke her heart. The truth she was not ready to accept. She was not his daughter. He had lied to her for years. He had kept her real, past hidden, locked away like a forbidden story. She ran past food stalls, glowing ads, and robotic cleaners that hummed softly as they worked. Every sound felt louder tonight. Every shadow felt bigger. Every person felt like a threat. The city felt like a maze built to trap her, but she refused to stop. Above her, small alien drones moved silently like metal insects, their red eyes watching the streets with cold interest. Lena didn't notice them yet, but they noticed her. They were waiting for the right moment. Back in the apartment, Captain Rowe finally moved. He closed the door and locked it, then walked to the hidden panel behind his desk. His fingers hovered for a moment. He hated what he needed to do next, but he opened the panel anyway. Inside was a small, glowing communicator marked with warning signs. He activated it, and a blue hologram flickered to life, showing a man with a tired face and worried eyes. "You lost her," the hologram said, not as a question, but as a statement. Rowe closed his eyes for a moment and nodded. "She found out," he answered, his voice heavy. "I knew this day would come," the hologram whispered. But not so soon. Rowe took a deep breath. "There's something else," he said. "The Vora scouts. They are back." The hologram's expression turned from worry to fear. "You must find her before they do," the hologram warned. "If they take the girl, humanity is finished." Rowe clenched his fists. He was prepared to give his life for Lena, but he feared that even that might not be enough. Meanwhile, Lena reached an empty alley and leaned against a metal wall, breathing hard. Her heart was racing. Her thoughts were spinning. She felt alone, betrayed, and lost. Why did Rowe hide her real identity? Why did he pretend to be her father? Why now, after all these years, did the truth come out? As she pressed her hand against her chest to calm herself, she felt a strange warmth under her skin. A soft pulsing glow, like a sleeping star opening its eyes. She didn't understand it, but she knew something was changing inside her. Then she heard the sound, a low humming. Slow and cold, she looked up, and her eyes widened. 3 alien drones floated above her, watching like hungry animals waiting to strike. Their red sensors glowed brighter when they scanned her face. She stepped back slowly, fear crawling up her spine. "What do you want?" she whispered, but deep inside, she felt the answer. They wanted her, at the same moment, miles away. Rowe's communicator beeped with a final message. The hologram spoke with urgency. "The girl has been found." "Captain Rowe, You must protect her, or everyone dies. Ro didn't waste another second. He grabbed his weapons, locked the apartment, and ran into the night. The hunt for Lena had begun. The night in New Arcadia grew colder as Lena stepped out of the alley, her hands shaking but her eyes sharp with new fear. The alien drones still searched the sky above her, moving slowly like silent predators that enjoyed the hunt. Lena pulled her hood low and blended into a group of travelers walking toward the lower market district. Her heart felt heavy, but her mind was moving fast. If she stayed in open streets, she knew the drones would catch her within minutes. She needed to disappear, and in New Arcadia, there was only one place where a lost girl could truly vanish. The Underline, a hidden world beneath the main city, full of racers, criminals, old tech dealers, and people with no names. Down there, rules were weak and danger was strong. But at least no one asked questions. And right now, that was the only thing Lena needed. She slipped into a narrow staircase that led underground, her footsteps echoing as she moved deeper. The air changed from fresh city wind to a thick, oily smell that tasted like metal and smoke. Bright signs flickered on the walls, offering illegal upgrades, off-world weapons, and cybernetic pets that glowed like tiny stars, even though Lena had been here before. Everything felt darker tonight. She felt watched, even when she saw no one watching at the bottom of the stairs. She entered a large open hall where people shouted over engines and neon lights. Hoverbikes raced down a long track, sparks flying as they drifted around corners. Crowds cheered and threw credits at the racers. This was the Underline's famous racing pit, a place where many people lost their money and some even lost their lives. Lena walked quickly, keeping her head down. She had raced here once before, and she knew someone who might help her hide, a young engineer named Cade. A quiet boy with fast hands and a loyal nature. He was one of the few people she trusted. And maybe he could explain why drones were hunting her. When Lena reached Cade's workshop, she knocked twice on the metal door. It slid open a moment later, and Cade appeared with dark grease on his face and confusion in his eyes. "Lena, you look like you saw a ghost," he said softly. Pulling her inside, "I wish it was just a ghost," she replied. Trying to catch her breath, "There are drones after me." Cade's expression changed instantly. He walked to the door and locked it. "Drones? The red-eye ones?" "Yes," Lena nodded. Cade swallowed hard. "That means someone important is searching for you. Those things don't come for normal people." Lena looked away. "I found out today I'm not normal at all." Her voice cracked. But she kept talking. "Ro lied to me. He's not my father." Cade stared at her with shock. "But he raised you like family." "I know," Lena whispered. "That's why it feels like my chest is breaking." Before Cade could answer, a loud explosion shook the racing pit above them. Screams echoed through the tunnels, and dust fell from the ceiling. Cade ran to a monitor screen and tapped it on. The camera feed showed the alien drones blasting through the racing hall, searching every face. "They're crazy," Cade whispered. "They're tearing the place apart for you." Lena stepped back, fear mixing with confusion and anger. "Why? Who am I to them?" Cade shook his head. "I don't know, but you can't stay here." He opened a hidden metal box and handed her a small handheld scanner. "This device can block their sensors for a short time. Maybe 10 minutes, Lena took it carefully. 10 minutes is enough to escape the Underline, she said, trying to sound brave, but inside, she felt anything but brave. Cade touched her arm gently. "Lena, don't go alone. Let me come with you." She shook her head. "If they catch me, I won't let them catch you too." She pushed the scanner's button, and a soft blue light wrapped around her body like a thin shield. Cade opened the back door of the workshop, revealing a dark corridor that led to the surface level. "Go," he whispered. And Lena? Be careful. She nodded once and ran into the darkness above ground. Captain Rowe sprinted through the city in full tactical gear. He scanned rooftops and alleys for any sign of Lena. His communicator beeped again. A voice spoke coldly. Captain Rowe. The Vora drones have entered the underline. They know she is there. Rowe clenched his jaw. I'm coming, Lena, he whispered to himself. No matter what it costs. Meanwhile, Lena climbed toward the surface. But just as she reached the final ladder, a shadow moved above her. A tall figure stepped into view, wearing dark armor with glowing alien symbols. Finally, the figure said in a deep voice, We found the girl. Lena froze, her heart pounding like a drum. Her escape was not over. It was only beginning. Lena stared at the tall, armored figure blocking her path, her breath caught in her throat like a trapped bird. The armor was dark silver, with strange glowing lines that moved like living veins. The figure's helmet slowly opened, revealing a pale face with sharp eyes that looked too human to be alien. But the voice was not human. It echoed with two tones at once. You cannot run from your destiny, child, the figure said calmly. Lena stepped back, gripping the scanner tightly. I don't know you, she said, her voice shaking, and I don't care about destiny. The figure tilted its head slightly, as if studying her fear. You are Lena 9X. The Keyborn, it replied. The Vora have searched for you since the day of your birth. Lena felt her stomach twist, her real parents again. Another reminder she never knew them. What do you want from me? She whispered. The figure extended a hand toward her, the metal fingers glowing softly. You carry ancient power in your DNA, it answered. You are made to activate the Solaris Gate. Lena had no idea what the Solaris Gate was. But the way the figure spoke made her fear it more than anything. Inside her chest, she felt that warm, pulsing glow again. A strange energy waking up, reacting to the alien words. The figure stepped closer. Come with us peacefully, it said, and you will not be harmed. Lena tightened her grip on the ladder. Her mind screamed at her to move, so she jumped, not down, but sideways. She kicked herself off the ladder and landed on a narrow steel beam, her legs almost slipping. The armored figure reached out but missed her by inches. Lena ran across the beam as fast as she could. Alarms activated inside the corridor, and red lights flashed everywhere. Behind her, she heard the metallic footsteps of the hunter charging after her. She slid under a broken pipe, climbed up another ladder, and burst through a service hatch into the night on the surface level. Cold wind hit her face, but she didn't stop. She dashed across rooftops, her heart burning with panic, confusion, and anger. Down below, crowds of people continued their normal lives, unaware that a war for humanity's future was unfolding above their heads. Neon signs blinked, air bikes zipped past, and music blasted from clubs. The city did not pause for anyone's fear. Not even hers. The scanner in her hand flickered. Its blue shield was fading. She needed to hide fast. Meanwhile, far across the city, Captain Rowe raced through the streets on a hoverbike. His communicator glowed with location trails. He followed Lena's signal, desperate to reach her before the Vora did. His mind replayed memories of the day he found her. A burning research ship, a dying scientist, and one small baby crying inside a glowing capsule. He remembered her mother's final words. Protect her. She is the last hope. Tonight, those words felt heavier than ever. Back on the rooftops, Lena jumped across a gap and almost fell. Her foot slipped, but she grabbed the edge just in time. Her hands burned, her muscles trembled, but she pulled herself up behind her. The armored hunter appeared at the rooftop edge. Its helmet locked onto her with a sharp clicking sound. Do not resist, it said. You were created for the gate. Lena shouted back. I wasn't created for you, and I won't go with you. She ran again, her breath cutting her lungs like cold knives. She found a broken ventilation shaft and crawled inside, dragging the metal cover behind her to block the entrance. The small space was dark and tight, but she felt safer for a moment. Her hands shook as she pressed herself against the cold metal. The scanner finally died with a soft crackle. She closed her eyes, trying to breathe, but the glowing warmth inside her chest pulsed again. Stronger than before, it felt like something inside her was unlocking. Something she did not understand, something she feared. "I'm not a key," she whispered to herself. "I'm just me." Footsteps echoed outside the vent, slow and heavy. The armored hunter was close. Its voice came through the metal. Calm and cold, "You cannot escape your design, Keyborn. The Vora will reclaim what is theirs." Before Lena could panic further, the vent suddenly shook as something slammed into it from the outside. A loud metallic bang echoed through the shafts. Then another and another. Lena covered her ears and closed her eyes tight. Was the hunter breaking in? The vent door ripped open, but instead of the hunter, she saw a familiar face. Breathing hard, eyes full of worry. "Captain Rowe, Lena," he said, reaching inside. "We have to go now." For the first time in hours, Lena felt a small spark of hope, but she also felt anger, confusion, fear, and 1,000 questions burning inside her. She took his hand anyway, because the hunter's voice echoed behind them. And because danger was only seconds away, Captain Rowe pulled Lena out of the broken vent and guided her across the rooftop. His movements sharp and fast. Lena followed, still shaking, still confused, but knowing she had no time to argue, behind them. The armored hunter climbed out of the vent, its red eyes glowing brighter with every step. The night wind whipped around them, carrying the sounds of alarms, engines, and distant screams. New Arcadia felt alive and violent, a city that swallowed secrets and spat out danger. Rowe grabbed her wrist firmly. "We need to reach the safe zone," he said. "There, I can explain everything." Lena pulled her hand away, anger flashing across her face. "No," she replied. "Not until you tell me the truth." Rowe stopped, his chest rising with heavy breaths. He looked into her eyes, seeing the fear and fire mixed together. "You are right to be angry," he said quietly. "But if we stay here, you will not live long enough to hear the truth." Before Lena could answer, the hunter launched forward with a jump that cracked the rooftop tiles beneath it. Rowe pushed Lena behind him and fired his plasma pistol. Bright blue shots flashing across the night. The bullet struck the hunter's armor but only slowed it for a moment. The creature moved like a shadow made of steel, powerful and silent. "Run," Rowe commanded. But Lena didn't move. Something inside her, something old and deep, told her not to fear, not to freeze, not to hide. The glowing warmth in her chest pulsed again, stronger than ever before. Her skin tingled and her vision sharpened. She felt every sound around her more clearly, every heartbeat, every breath, every vibration in the metal under her feet. The hunter charged again, raising its blade-like arm. Rowe lifted his gun, but knew he was too slow. Lena stepped forward without thinking. Her hand lifted, glowing faintly with the same light she felt inside. A wave of energy burst from her palm, invisible yet powerful. It slammed into the hunter and threw it backward across the rooftop. Breaking a metal pipe in its path, Rowe froze, his eyes wide with shock. Lena stared at her hand, breathing hard. "What? What did I just do?" she whispered. Her fingers shook, glowing softly before the light faded. Rowe grabbed her shoulders. "You're awakening," he said. "It's beginning." Lena stepped back, feeling fear creep inside her. What is awakening? Why can I do this? But Rowe didn't have time to answer. The hunter stood again, damaged but not defeated. Its voice came out distorted, full of static. The Keyborn must be taken. Rowe fired another round, then pulled Lena toward a stairwell leading down into an abandoned housing block. They ran through broken hallways, past shattered windows and old graffiti that glowed under flickering lights. The city above roared with noise, but down here, everything felt quiet and dangerous. Finally, they reached a locked steel door. Ro placed his hand on a scanner, and the door opened into a hidden room full of old tech and survival gear. This was one of his secret safe zones. A place built long before Lena ever knew danger existed. Lena stepped inside, still trying to understand the power she used. Ro locked the door behind them and leaned against the wall, breathing heavily. "I didn't lie to hurt you," Ro said softly. "I lied to protect you." Lena crossed her arms, her voice sharp. "You hid my whole life. You knew I wasn't your daughter. You knew something was wrong with me." Ro shook his head. "No, Lena," he said. "Nothing is wrong with you. You were born special." Lena looked away, feeling her chest tighten. "I don't want to be special." She whispered, "I just want to be normal." Ro stepped closer, speaking with a gentle tone she rarely heard. "When I found you, your real parents were already gone, but they loved you, Lena. They died trying to protect you." Lena felt tears she didn't want. She wiped them quickly. Refusing to show weakness, Ro opened a small metal box and pulled out a hologram projector. He activated it, and a glowing image appeared. A woman with bright eyes and a warm smile, holding a baby wrapped in silver fabric. "This was your mother," Ro said. "Dr. Sella Arden." Lena stared, her heart trembling. "She looks like me." The hologram woman spoke, her recorded voice soft and full of hope. "If you are watching this, my daughter, then the Vora have come for you. You have a gift inside you, a power older than human history. You must learn to control it." Lena stepped back, her breathing uneven. "This is too much," she whispered. "I can't do this." Ro placed a gentle hand on her back. "Yes, you can," he said, "and I will help you." But before Lena could answer, the safe zone shook violently. Dust fell from the ceiling as explosions echoed outside. The hunter had found them, and it was not alone. The safe zone shook again, harder this time, making the lights flicker like dying stars. Lena grabbed the wall to steady herself as dust rained from the ceiling. She heard distant metal footsteps, too many to count, echoing through the abandoned building. The Vora were not sending one hunter anymore. They were sending an entire unit. Ro moved fast, grabbing weapons, unlocking hidden panels, and securing armor plates around his arms. His face was calm, but his eyes revealed the weight of fear he carried. He tossed Lena a small device shaped like a bracelet. "Wear this," he said. "It will help control your energy." Lena stared at the bracelet, unsure. "This thing can control whatever I did back there." "It can help you focus," Ro replied, "but only you can control it." Another explosion shook the door, warping the metal and cracking the frame. A sharp alien voice echoed from the hallway. "Keyborn detected. Prepare capture sequence." Lena felt the glow in her chest pulse again. But this time it brought pain, like something inside her wanted to burst free. She pressed a hand over her heart and gritted her teeth. "What is happening to me?" Ro approached her quickly, placing both hands on her shoulders. "Your power reacts to danger," he said. "The Vora are forcing your awakening too fast." The door finally collapsed. Crashing to the floor, 4 armored Vora hunters stepped inside. Their red eyes sweeping the room, Ro fired immediately. A bright blast of energy splitting through the air. One hunter staggered, but the others advanced with slow, determined steps. Lena backed away, fear clawing inside her. She wanted to run, but her legs refused. Her heartbeat grew louder, faster, stronger. Her vision blurred at the edges as the warm glow inside her turned into a burning storm. One hunter lunged toward her, its metal claws reaching out. Lena lifted her arm without thinking. A burst of golden energy shot from her palm, wider and stronger than before. It slammed into the hunter and threw it across the room like a broken puppet. The wall cracked where it landed. Ro looked at her with both awe and concern. "Good," he said. "But don't lose control." Lena shook her head, fear filling her voice. "I'm not doing this on purpose." Another hunter rushed at Ro, swinging a blade-like arm. Ro blocked with his armor and countered with a heavy punch that sparked against the alien metal. But the hunters were too many, too strong, and too relentless. "Lena, move." Ro shouted. He threw a shock grenade and grabbed her arm. Pulling her toward a hidden exit tunnel, the grenade exploded with a blinding flash, slowing the hunters but not stopping them. They ran into the tunnel as the ceiling above shook again. The ground vibrated under their feet. Outside, the sky filled with burning lights. The Vora ships descended through the atmosphere like dark meteors. New Arcadia was under attack. The city alarms screamed. People ran through the streets. Air bikes crashed. Buildings caught fire. It was chaos, and it was only the beginning. Lena stared at the burning sky, her breath shaking. "They're destroying everything." Ro nodded. "They want you," he said, "and if humanity stands in their way, they will burn every city." The ground behind them burst open as two hunters dropped into the tunnel, their blades glowing with heat. Ro pushed Lena behind him and fired rapidly, his shots hitting the tunnel walls and filling the air with sparks. But the hunters kept advancing, unhurt and unstoppable. Lena felt her anger rise like fire in her blood. Her fear twisted into something sharp and powerful. She stepped forward before Ro could stop her. A bright golden aura formed around her hands. Her voice trembled. "If you want me, then fight me." Energy exploded from her body in a wave that shook the tunnel. The hunters were thrown back violently, crashing into the walls with a sound like breaking bones. The entire tunnel cracked, sending dust and debris falling like rain. Ro grabbed her again. "Not here," he said urgently. "You'll bring the tunnel down." They ran deeper into the underground passage until they reached an old transport platform. Ro activated the controls, and the platform hummed to life. It shot forward on magnetic rails, taking them away from the collapsing tunnel. Lena leaned against the rail, her energy fading, her body weak. "I don't understand this," she said softly. "Why do I have this power?" Ro looked at her with a heavy, honest expression. "Because your parents made a choice," he said. "They gave you a gift meant to save humanity. And now the Vora want to use it to destroy us." Lena lowered her head. She felt both important and terrified. Wanted and hunted, powerful and helpless at the same time. The platform carried them into a massive underground chamber filled with old ships and broken machines. Ro placed a hand on an old starship marked with human military symbols. "This is the ship that took your parents on their final mission," he said. "And this is where you will learn the truth." But before Lena could speak, a deep rumbling echoed through the chamber. A giant Vora dropship was drilling down from above. The ceiling cracked open, letting in cold blue alien light. The war for the Keyborn had truly begun. Asterisk years passed like shifting shadows across the galaxy. The war with the Vora changed everything. Cities fell, colonies vanished, and humans fought harder than ever before. But in the middle of that long, dark war, Lena became something the universe did not expect. A leader, a warrior, a symbol of hope. She trained with human rebels, learned alien technology, and studied her strange powers until she could control the golden energy within her like a natural skill. Her name spread across star systems. People spoke of her in whispers and in cheers. The Keyborn, they called her. The girl who can break ships with a single strike. With every battle, she survived. With every mission she led, she gained more support, more power, more respect, until one day, the galaxy gave her something else. Wealth. A fortune large enough to build ships, hire armies, and start her own alliance of explorers and protectors. Lena changed from a scared girl into a woman with strength, strategy, and purpose. But no matter how far she traveled, no matter how rich she became, a quiet voice inside her always whispered the same question. What happened to Ro? She never forgot the man who raised her, even if she once shouted at him, even if she once ran from him. He was the reason she survived long enough to become who she was now. He was the shield she never thanked, the father she once rejected. So after the final battle against the Vora ended with humans victorious, Lena made one final journey, a journey back home, back to New Arcadia. Her ship descended through the bright clouds like a floating fortress, its silver wings spreading like a bird of light. Crowds filled the landing docks, whispering and pointing. They knew her face. They knew her story. Some bowed, some applauded, some cried. Lena ignored all of them. She came for only one person. The doors of her ship opened, and she stepped out wearing a long black coat marked with symbols of victory and leadership. Her guards followed behind her, armored and silent, but Lena moved ahead alone. She wanted no barrier between her and the man she came to see. The city had changed since the war. Some buildings were new, some were ruins, but the air felt the same. The same neon glow, the same busy streets, the same smell of metal and smoke. Memories of her younger self walking these streets rushed back into her mind like faded ghosts. After a long walk, she reached a small mechanical shop near the edge of the city. The sign was old and flickering. She pushed the door open. A soft bell rang above her head. Inside, the air was warm and filled with the smell of oil and tools. Behind the counter sat an old man repairing a broken drone with gentle hands. His hair was gray now, his shoulders thinner, but his eyes, they were the same, deep, steady, and full of stories. Captain Rowe looked up slowly. At first, he didn't recognize the tall, confident woman standing in front of him, but then he saw her eyes. The same eyes he saw when she was a child. The same eyes of the baby he carried from a burning ship so many years ago. "Lena," he whispered, his voice trembling like an old string. Rowe tried to stand, but his legs were weak. Lena moved quickly and held his arm. Helping him sit back, she knelt beside him, her eyes shiny with tears she once refused to show. "I'm sorry," she said softly. "I was angry. I didn't understand the truth. I didn't understand you." Rowe smiled gently. "You don't need to apologize, child," he said. "You survived. That is all I ever wanted." Lena shook her head. "No," she whispered. "You did more than save me. You raised me. You gave me a home. You gave me love." She reached into her coat and placed a small silver card on the table. "This gives you access to my full credit accounts," she said. "You'll never have to work again." Rose stared at the card but didn't touch it. "I never wanted your money, Lena," he said softly. "I only wanted to see you safe." Lena wiped her tears with the back of her hand. "I'm safe because of you," she said. "And I'm strong because of you." Rose's eyes softened. "You became everything your mother hoped for," he whispered. "And more." Lena placed her hand on his. "You were not my father by blood," she said. "But you were my father by heart." Roe closed his eyes and breathed deeply. A peaceful smile touched his lips. For the first time in years, Lena felt whole, outside. The city lights glowed like warm stars, and inside that small workshop, the girl who once ran away returned as a woman carrying gratitude, strength, and love. She was no longer just the keyborn. She was a daughter who finally came home. The news of Lena's return spread across New Arcadia like fire running through dry fields. People whispered her name in markets, shouted it from rooftops, and told stories of her victories to children who barely understood the war she ended. But Lena ignored the noise of the city, Her only focus was the man sitting quietly in the workshop behind her. Captain Rowe, the man who raised her, protected her, and carried lies on his shoulders only to keep her safe. She spent the night repairing old machines with him, something she used to do when she was younger. Sometimes they talked quietly, sometimes they worked in silence. But the silence felt peaceful now. Not angry or painful like before, Rowe watched her with soft eyes, noticing the changes in her face, her voice, her spirit. She was no longer the scared girl who ran from him. She was stronger, wiser, and finally ready to understand her past. When morning sunlight entered the shop through the dusty windows, Rowe placed a warm hand on her shoulder. "There is something you still need to know, Lena," he said gently. "Something I never had the courage to tell you." Lena turned toward him, a calm but curious expression on her face. "I'm ready now," she said. "I wasn't ready back then." Rowe nodded slowly. He walked to a small metal box hidden under the counter and unlocked it with a trembling hand. Inside was a small crystal shard glowing softly with golden light. Lena stepped closer and felt the energy inside her react, pulsing warmly like a heartbeat. "This belonged to your mother," Rowe said. "It was meant for you when the war was over." Lena picked up the shard carefully, the glow reflecting in her eyes. "What is it?" she asked. Rowe smiled softly. "A memory crystal," he replied. "Your mother's final message to you." Lena activated the shard, and a golden hologram appeared above it. The same woman she saw before, Dr. Sella Arden, but now speaking with deeper emotion. Even though it was only a recording, her voice filled the room with warmth. "My daughter," the hologram said, "if you are watching this, then you survived the Vora. And you lived long enough to grow into the person I always hoped you would become." Lena felt her eyes sting, but she stayed silent and strong. Rowe stood beside her, his hand resting gently on her back. "You carry power that can protect or destroy," the hologram continued. "But power alone means nothing. What matters is your heart." Lena took a shaky breath, her voice barely above a whisper. "Mother." The hologram smiled lovingly. "Remember this, my child," she said. "Gratitude is the strongest form of strength, and love is the only power that cannot be stolen." The crystal faded slowly, leaving the workshop in soft silence again. Lena wiped her eyes and looked at Rowe with a gentle smile. "I understand now," she said. "My mother wanted me to choose my path, not fear it." Rowe nodded, pride filling his tired eyes. "And you did," he replied. "You chose humanity. You chose peace. You chose to rise." But Lena shook her head softly. "I didn't do it alone," she said. "I survived because of you." Rowe tried to speak, but emotion caught his voice. Lena knelt beside him again, just as she did the night before. She placed the memory crystal in his hand and covered it with hers. "You weren't my father by blood," she whispered gently. "But you were the one who fought for me, the one who taught me kindness, the one who loved me even when I pushed you away. You will always be my true father." Rowe closed his eyes, tears slipping down his aging cheeks. He had waited years to hear those words, and now they felt like the greatest reward of his life. Outside, Lena's elite crew waited for her commands. Ships stood ready, missions prepared. New dangers rising beyond the stars, the galaxies still needed her. But she wanted to give Rose something more before she left. She helped him stand and guided him outside the shop. A large silver ship hovered above the street, shining under the morning sun like a symbol of renewal. Crowds watched quietly as Lena announced, "This home, this street, this city, they are under my protection now. No harm will ever come to Captain Rowe again." People bowed their heads in respect. Rowe looked around in disbelief. His simple life had turned into a world full of honor because of the girl he once saved. Lena squeezed his hand. "Your days of running after danger are over," she said with a soft laugh. It's my turn to protect you." Rose smiled with quiet pride. "You already have, Lena," he whispered. In more ways than you know, the city lights glowed brighter than before. And as Lena stood beside the man who raised her, the universe felt peaceful for the first time in years. The angry girl who once shouted, "You're not my father," had returned with strength, wealth, and gratitude. And now she finally understood the truth. Family is not made by blood, but by love, sacrifice, and the courage to come back home.